Good afternoon and happy Friday, brothers and sisters. This is the Sports Prophet here to talk more about what's going on in the world of sports all around us. Give us some things for the fellowship to chew on and chop up and discuss over the next few days. Coming through this week, we've been talking a lot about the NBA playoffs. Of course, big news, Chris Paul, CP3, getting his first opportunity at a ring. On the Facebook page for the Fellowship of Fans, we threw out who would you like to see, who would you wish had won a ring, who didn't get a chance to during their career. A lot of great names, especially a lot of New York Knicks legends, since we missed out on a lot of opportunities. And now we're seeing Chris Paul getting his shot. Also, big news, the NCAA is finally going to allow student athletes to sign their own endorsement deals, to retain agents, and make some money moves on their own so that they are no longer left out of the opportunity to make money off of their immense talent. But in the midst of all of this, and we will definitely get to that on another day, in the midst of all of that, we've been in our Olympic trials, seeing who's going to be representing the United States in the upcoming Summer Games in Tokyo in a few weeks. And one explosive young lady has come onto the scene and has positioned herself to be the next star. We know that when the Summer Games come out, there are always those couple of people who we hear about, those who are casual fans of a sport who don't follow it all year round. When the Olympics come out, we hear about these incredible athletes who go out, perform amazingly. They become our next great stars. And one of those groups are the sprinters in track and field. So the Usain Bolts, the Carl Lewises, the Michael Johnsons, the Flojos, and the Gail Devers. Well, one young lady has positioned herself to be the next one. Sha'Carri Richardson. She tore up the Olympic trials and was going into the Olympics with a lot of momentum. And then news breaks just recently that during the trials, she tested positive for marijuana. And as a result, she's accepted a 1-month suspension from the time of her positive test, which means that she'll miss out on most of the Olympics. There's a possibility she can be added to the 4x100 relay team. So there's still a chance she can run, represent her country, and earn the right to potentially medal in her event. But the big story is the positive test and the suspension that came from it. A lot of people are having a lot to say about whether or not this should even be a rule, whether or not she should be suspended for something that's legal in most places now, whether or not marijuana should be considered a banned substance since it's not a performance enhancer, it's not a stimulant, it doesn't help you run faster at all. Or is this a matter of someone who knew the rules, followed the rules, and simply has to pay the price for her actions? The first thing I want to say is, to her credit, Sha'Carri Richardson is making no excuses. She's not blaming anything or anyone. She's acknowledging, I knew the rules, I knew what I was doing, and I accept what comes with it. She has her explanation, which is hers, it's her business, and we'll leave that there. The bigger conversation comes into the use of marijuana for an athlete and whether or not that should be grounds for a suspension. It can be said that, look, a rule is a rule, you follow the rules, and you have no issues, you break the rules, you pay the price. Simple accountability. There's another argument to be made that it's not a just or a fair or even a logical rule. So Ricky Williams on Twitter stating that the only way to fight against a dumb rule is to not follow it. You can't fight a dumb rule by following it if you consider this one to be a dumb rule. And again, this was not an act of rebellion. This was not her fighting against the machine to say that marijuana should be legal and as athletes we should be permitted to use it. This is a case where she says she understood what she was doing and she accepts the suspension that comes. So the question is, how should we all feel about this? Should we be reevaluating the role of marijuana? Should we be evaluating the banned substance list? Should we be trying to challenge rules that don't appear to actually impact performance of athletes? Now, some can say that marijuana is used to treat pain. And if you're in less pain, you can train harder, you can train longer. Another conversation that can be entered into this if you choose to add it. But the big question that I'm putting out for the fellowship is, what should we as sports fans, how should we feel about what we're watching right now? Is this a situation where someone should be saying, look, it's not affecting her performance. She did all the work. She did all the training. She really shouldn't be suspended. Is this a case where the entire rule should be questioned? Or again, is this one where we say, here is a lesson in accountability and paying for our decisions, showing even our younger athletes that for every decision we make, there is a consequence. And if you're willing to accept the consequence, then you can go forward with the action. So today, I'm looking to the fellowship. I'm looking to my brothers and sisters right now to ask you all, what do you think? What should we take from the circumstance with Sha'Carri Richardson? How should we feel about what has just transpired? And is there room for multiple feelings? Can you feel both sympathetic because she's going to miss out on a dream opportunity, and say, you understood what you were getting into, and this is what comes with it? There can be more than one answer here. So I'm turning to the fellowship of fans and I'm asking you all what you all think. Where do you land on this subject? And what is your opinion on the circumstance surrounding Sha'Carri Richardson and her positive marijuana test? So, brothers and sisters, this is exactly what the fellowship was created to do, to bring us all together where we can discuss whatever the sports news of the day is. Yes, it can be NBA or NFL or somebody's draft, or it can be an issue that affects us on a societal level, like the college athletes receiving their licensing and their imaging rights, or this circumstance right now with Sha'Carri Richardson and her eligibility for the Olympics. So I turn to the fellowship, turn to my sisters and brothers in sports, and I ask you all what you think, and I look for your opinion. So get on, tell us what you think, drop your comments, and please feel free to share wherever you land on it. Everyone's entitled to their say in the fellowship, and that's why we're here to have these conversations. We're coming into a big weekend. We want to find out if Milwaukee's going to be able to close out Atlanta. We're going to hear more news going into the NBA draft coming up. The NFL always has off-season buzz going around. And of course, the Olympics are only a couple of weeks away. So we're going to be hearing more and more stories as our team prepares to go and represent the United States. So thank you guys, as always, for your time and your attention. I want to hear what you guys have to say. This is the Fellowship of Fans. I am the Sports Prophet, and I'm here for each and every one of you. So tell us what you think, and we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your weekend. Let's go.